You think connecting to your desire makes you pushy. So you hold back, you override the impulse to reach for her hand, to pull her closer, to dance with her when something exciting happens, because you think you're being respectful, appropriate, making her comfortable. And it's not that these aren't true, but the way that you disconnect from your desire and substitute something appropriate is confusing her. And that confusion gives women the ick. So we need to talk about it. Today we're going to be talking about what it is that you're doing, why it's backfiring, and what you can do instead so that you can be both respectful and contextually appropriate while also owning and staying connected to your authentic desire, which is going to create that congruence that I talk about all the time that makes you magnetic to the right type of women. If you're new to my work, my name's Courtney Shand, and I love helping men lead with their depth. This is what allows them to navigate the nuances of dating in a way that feels not only authentic, but creates the quality and type of connections that they're looking for. Because here's what this looks like in real life. Let's say that you're walking her to her car after dinner. The conversation has been really good and it's been progressively getting deeper. And there's a moment where reaching for her hand would feel really natural and you have that impulse to do it. But there's part of you that thinks, is this the right time? What if she's not ready for that? I should probably wait for a clearer sign. And so you keep your hands in your pocket and keep walking. And maybe it comes up in conversation later, or she mentions it to a friend that she wasn't quite sure on whether you were interested because the vibe was feeling really friendly between the two of you. This actually happens quite often, and this is why scripting or any kind of behavioral strategy doesn't land the way that you want. Because in that moment, when you felt the impulse, you were viscerally picking up on the energy of that moment. The connection had deepened, which is a green light. There was some openness flowing between the two of you, another green light. And you were feeling that impulse viscerally to move towards her, to reach for her hand. But when you're not trusting the input from your visceral system, you're going to try to think your way through those situations and navigate it cognitively. And this is what has you looking for objective signs that she wants you to flirt with her or kiss her or move towards her. And I get that there is an element of wanting to be really conscientious of a woman's experience, especially in today's dating space. And yet I find that the men who do this masterfully, where they're able to tune into her experience and read the moment, they're able to feel what's happening in the moment and make their decisions based on that information, which is going to usually be the clearest indicator that you have. Not looking to decode some way that she smiled or was flirting with her eyes. And I've done videos like that of some green lights that a woman is giving you that are signs that she wants you to keep flirting with her and moving towards her. I'll link it here in case you want that. But without your visceral connection to what's happening in that moment, the connection's going to continue to land differently than you anticipate. Maybe there's some awkwardness, and a moment that could have deepened the connection ends up feeling confusing, probably for both of you, if we're honest. Here's the subtle piece that I see men most often missing. When you disconnect from your impulses, they don't go away. They just come out sideways in ways that you have less control over. Instead of owning what it is that you need or want to create in the connection, it ends up coming out as an unspoken agreement where you're hoping that she will somehow make it safe or read between the lines, and you won't have to ask directly for what you need. And I'm not saying that women don't do this as well. What I am saying is if you want a healthy, mature relationship, everybody needs to clean this behavior up. Because when that dynamic is at play, your kind gestures, even though I know they're coming from a really good place, are going to translate as tread lightly. And women can feel that energetic leak, and it's going to keep them from feeling safe to fully show up and express themselves in connection with you. So the more she's left trying to read between the lines, the more it's muddying the lines of communication, both verbally and viscerally, which is going to leave her trying to navigate from her head as well. And that's just not where feminine attraction occurs. Because women are looking for clarity from the masculine. She's looking for clear signals to respond to, which is why when you think you're being considerate by not asking for things or being clear and direct with your actions and your words in the moment, it's creating this unconscious expectation for her to reciprocate. without actually having the information that she needs. This doesn't mean that you need to say or do things perfectly, but the more that you practice bringing your energetic intentions and your action into alignment, the more congruent you're going to come across. So if we go back to our earlier example of you walking after dinner with her, what would have worked better for both of you would be to stay connected to your impulse, to get clear within yourself that you have a desire to deepen the connection, to move towards her physically. This actually gives you lots of directions to go with in that moment. For example, you could move with it in that moment, you could reach for her hand and stay attuned to her actual response. You're going to want to adjust based on how she's responding in that moment. If you're listening to the energy that's flowing between the two of you, you're going to have a much better indicator of how you need to adjust in that moment. Or you could just own that you have hesitation. You could say something like, I really want to hold your hand right now, and I'm not sure if that's where you're at yet. Both would have given you more agency in the moment and honored your actual impulse, and given her the clarity and something to viscerally respond to. I think the reason that this is really challenging is because it does require you to tune into your visceral experience, to feel what's actually happening in the moment and have a sense of your own impulses. And I'm not going to get too deep into that because I've written entire courses on that. If you want to snag a spot in Grounded, I'm going to put the link for that in the description below. That would be a really great place to learn how to start connecting to your own visceral experience. Because I think we can all agree that it doesn't work to disconnect from what you want and just hope that she will either figure it out or somehow make it safe for you to ask for what you need. Healthy potential partners understand that there is a reciprocal element to relating. And if you want to see what type of reciprocation they are capable of, go first. Get clear on the type of experience that you're wanting to create so that you can make sure that you're showing up as your half of the experience and invite her into it. I have a whole program on how to start doing this called Break the Ice. I'm going to put it in the description below as well. But this really comes down to clarity for your sake, to get clear on what you want and need. So a really common one that I hear is that you need more connection. When you don't ask for it directly, it's going to come out sideways as looking for validation and reassurance. When you do go for it directly, it gives you the opportunity to say something like, hey, I'm really enjoying getting to know you and I'd love to see you more often. Are you free twice this week? Or I'd like to FaceTime over text. How does that feel for you? Because especially for my clientele, you may associate owning your needs as being pushy, but I can assure you that it actually feels viscerally safer to be across from. Because she then gets to see clearly what she's stepping into and engage to the degree to which she feels comfortable. It becomes a collaborative adventure that feels more natural for both of you, and it sets the tone of clarity. And what I've actually observed is that when men really build this capacity to stay present with their desires, they actually are able to see her with more clarity too, which means they're going to be able to read her visceral experience and have an easier time making adjustments when she truly is uncomfortable, instead of holding back and waiting for the conditions that would make you comfortable. This actually feels more natural the more that you step into it, because not only does it build your confidence, it actually does something more important. It builds your self-trust that what you need and want from a relationship is going to be accounted for, not something that you have to perform in order to get. And counterintuitively, this actually allows you to show up more generously, which I know is your intention, because you're no longer dependent on your performance to inspire her to meet your needs in return, which again leaves you feeling more in charge and gives her a felt experience of the clarity that being in your presence creates, which is naturally going to build a level of attractiveness. And if viscerally communicating with that level of clarity is a skill that you want to develop, you can still join Grounded, or I would suggest checking out Break the Ice if you're looking for something that's a little more self-paced. And if all of this is making sense, I think you're also going to like this video where I talk about the mindset shift that allows you to approach women with more confidence. As always, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next week.